Coming up on the next episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
We are once again joined by longtime friend Phillip Erklen. For more than 25 years, Phillip has brought music and heartfelt surprises to the Zuzu community. You'll laugh, you'll remember, and you'll see the ripple effect of one person's creative spirit.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
You're now listening to Zuzu All Grown Up.
She's been featured in more than 20 films from the early days of film and television.
He is a psychotherapist and her loving husband.
Together, they are on a mission to brighten your day and your life.
It's a time to smile, a time to laugh, a time to expect more.
It's time to get inspired with your hosts, Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
It's time to meet Zuzu, all grown up.
Do you believe that life is wonderful in principle, but for some reason just isn't so consistently in practice? Every life will have its ups and downs. But have you ever thought that if there were only more people around you encouraging, uplifting, and even inspiring you, then life would be more fulfilling? If only people like George and Mary Bailey were in your inner circle, then life could truly be wonderful all the time? If so, we've got good news for you, because you can find such people on this podcast and at zuzunetwork.com. This podcast is the vision of Karolyn Grimes, Zuzu, and Dr. Chris Brunell, illustrating how the timeless message of It's a Wonderful Life can be and is applied to our modern lives and situations. Indeed, when you take that message to heart, your life will become immeasurably more wonderful. Visit us at zuzunetwork.com and listen to this podcast series to learn more about how. Now sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy another episode of Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Get ready for miracles. Get ready for Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Phillip Erklen is a musician, educator, and lifelong lover of meaningful surprises. Phillip, we're so glad to have you back with us. Karolyn, Dr. Chris, over to you.
Right, Chris.
Yes.
25 years since we've known each other, you and me. It started in 1999 when I contacted you about an idea I had of a special surprise event for Karolyn.
If you want to go back even further, you first contacted us through eBay.
That's all right. Because of eBay, I did a big surprise on you, too. This is very funny because you were bidding on Zuzu the Clown sheet music.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do remember that.
And I used a completely different email to bid against you.
Yes. Didn't know who you were. I thought, who is bidding against me on Zuzu's sheet music?
Yeah, this was very old sheet music, and I won the bid.
Yes, you did.
And then at the big event we had for Karolyn, I had it all wrapped up in Christmas package, and I unwrapped it, and there was the Zuzu sheet music framed for you.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, beautiful.
I believe it's now in the museum.
Oh, nice. But that's how I met Chris. He's correct. I wanted to get a photo from Zuzu for the students. We had emailed back and forth, and you said, yes, that's possible. Maybe it was 1998 when we started talking about it, but 1999 is when we started formulating this big surprise for Karolyn, the sheet music and by Phillip Erklen, and we kept emailing back and forth about the design of it. And then Chris put in here a poem for her that was really great.
Are you talking about the Zuzu's Angels, Bells, and Petals?
Yes, we tapered it down. We just now have it as Angels, Bells, and Petals. Very first one. And here is the one we did, the new one. That's when we had Ariana Richards do the artwork for that.
Beautiful, beautiful music.
Well, they can just go to the website and they can hear it. It's real easy. cccmusiccompany.com.
Could I read that dedication that I wrote to Karolyn?
Oh, absolutely. I was going to mention that.
I really enjoyed this. You are always so giving. You love surprises. You love to surprise people. And you are the ultimate
Santa
Claus, so to speak, in the nicest way. You are the spirit of Christmas.
All year long.
Jackson Berkey calls me the Immaculate Deception. I'm always surprising people.
The dedication I wrote back at this time in 97, my gosh, it's been a long time, says, her angel's face, as the great eyes of heaven shine bright and made sunshine in the shady place, her soft red petals, a fragrance so sweet, so pretty, so petite, if you listen closely, you can hear it sing. To love her is to see the face of an angel. Karolyn, this special dedication comes from the heart. There were several special people who bared their souls and talents in making this wonderful dedication a reality. This is a heartfelt appreciation for all that you have done to make this world a better place for everyone. Karolyn, you will always be my love, my life, my world. With love, Christopher.
That was read during the event, of course. And I remember Karolyn's words. She says, then this isn't Kinko's, is it? And Phillip Erklen, of course, was flown in to play this for her. And then as you remember, Chris, we had students playing all the pieces that she did as a child and vocal, of course. So piano, violin, and vocalist. We had the two little boys with the violins, and they were all playing professionally, of course. Then we had the little girl dressed up as Zuzu and singing one of Karolyn's favorite songs. What was really nice is that Karolyn wrote a note to the students in this publication.
She says, dear music students who are studying the language of the heart, I call it music. There's no other form of communication that is more universal than music. It is a wonderful gift that we have been given to enrich our lives. Some of us can only listen while others, like you, have the ability to make music. This is a gift that you will embrace all your life. To share that gift with others is a beautiful way to touch lives. It is also a treasure that you can enjoy yourself. Practicing can be a challenge. I encourage you to have patience, and you will reap many rewards. With your talent, you can make it a wonderful life. I wish the music of your heart to surround you always. Karolyn Grimes, Zuzu.
So there's a lot of things going on in the music world. Of course, we have Kevin Olson is going to be here next month. He's a great artist, wonderful composer, and he is performing on Friday the 13th in September at Colorado College. And the first piece he's going to play is going to be Attack of the Left-Hand Zombie. And that's something you would love, Chris, because as you remember, Karolyn had no idea about this event, and we were in the car going to the Broadmoor Hotel, which I found instantly, of course.
Karolyn and I were scared to death. He was lost. He had to go to a 7-Eleven to get directions. And we looked at each other and said, are we safe?
I'd never been there before, and I didn't have a Garmin at that time to tell me which way to go. Anyway, on the way there, you asked me a question. What was that question, Chris?
Do you enjoy horror movies?
You asked specifically, do I like the horror movies and do I like the B horror movies? And I responded in the positive, and Karolyn almost passed out when she heard that. But, oh, now I've got two of them.
Yes. And then we shared titles, and it was a brotherly bond from then on.
Yes, it was. And when you invited me to your place on Thanksgiving, you and I sat there and watched these old B movies while Karolyn, I don't know if she was in the kitchen or went into another room.
I think I hid my head, that's all.
She's frightened of the smallest little thing.
What you gave me had to do something about ghouls. You gave me VHS or something like that. And then you got me hooked onto Netflix. That was a good time. I have on the Clavinova also Troll Under the Bridge that I dedicated to you too. Oh, he was scary. That was a big troll. And I've still got a photo of me standing next to it. But if anyone wants to hear it, all they have to do, they can either email me and I'll send them the MP3 of it and the Zuzu piece, and then they can hear it. Or they can just go to the website and go to the music section and just push the button and then they can hear it also.
Can you maybe tell us a little bit about your experience when you went with Ariana to...
Of course, Ariana Richards, she's the actress who played Lex in Jurassic Park. We're pretty close. I'm the godfather of her two children. But she invited me to Universal Studios, and she told me that Steven Spielberg, when he goes up the Jurassic Park ride, he gets off at the top and walks down because he doesn't like going down when that big splash and the water is all over you. And I can understand that because I got drenched. And then we got to see the 3D version of Jurassic Park, the first one, and that was really something else. It was like those dinosaurs were right in front of you.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
Start your morning right with premium coffee roasts available at ZuzuNetwork.com and drink them in your Zuzu All Grown Up coffee mug. Also perfect for tea and hot chocolate.
Stay inspired throughout the day with the same gratitude journal used by Karolyn and Chris, and check out t-shirts, hats, books, Christmas keepsakes, and more at ZuzuNetwork.com/shop.
Join Zuzu's network today at ZuzuNetwork.com/join.
Karolyn is creating an international network of aspiring angels, everyday people who believe that they can help make the world a better place by making life better for even just one other person.
Let us know you want to earn your wings at ZuzuNetwork.com/join, and Karolyn and Chris will send you inspirational material to support you in your journey.
We're back with more Zuzu All Grown Up.
When the theme came on, the music came on, there were two ladies next to us. For some reason, it had sentimental value to them, and they started getting tearful at that time. And then Mark, Ariana's sister, said, well, we probably shouldn't tell them that they're sitting right next to Lex from the movie.
So, of course, you told them.
They were already crying, and then Ariana gets on to me when I do those things. So does Karolyn. But you probably remember that big time when Karolyn was in Denver, and then we went to that restaurant. But we were sitting there, and everyone was laughing so hard, no one could breathe.
That seems like it's every time that we get together.
Well, we had that young lady with us. Do you remember Jill?
Mm-hmm.
She said she's never laughed so hard in her life. So anyway, Karolyn, a little bit about the movie. People have been asking me to ask you these questions because they're going to listen to this podcast. One question that all of them ask is, how did you meet Chris?
I had a son who took his own life. That was pretty traumatic for me. I was contacted by the American Society of Suicide Prevention. They were having a convention in Memphis. They wanted to know if I would come and speak about this. I had never talked about my private life before, ever, and I was hesitant to do this. But actually, I finally said, okay, I will do this because it might help someone else who's facing the same situation I am as far as healing and getting my life back. So I went to the convention and I talked at the dinner, the big dinner they had, and I told my story. They had previously played parts of the movie It's a Wonderful Life because, as you know, George had considered suicide. So that was a big part of the whole evening.
I looked at the brochure and I was just kind of reviewing it, and I can remember as clear as day. I'd never seen the name Zuzu before. And it was just this little petite, pretty lady who called herself Zuzu. Anyway, she gave her talk, and I found a lot of my own values, my own way of, I shared a lot of the same thoughts and sentiments that she had. So I got in her line to meet her. I was the last person. We got to talking. We never sat down. We were just talking until 3 o'clock in the morning. The cleaning crew came by and they said, would you mind sitting over here so that we could vacuum? And so we did for a little bit longer. And she had an appearance the next day and she invited me to see what the Zuzu thing was all about.
Since you were a singer and you'd never seen the film, you had to see something about it anyway. The lady looked at me when I said, can he come along? And she looked at me like I was crazy, but she said yes. And so he came with me and he saw what it was like. People came to see me and they brought their little kids whose name were Zuzu.
We're dressed up like Zuzu.
Yeah.
And people brought roses. People were crying. I've never seen anything like it. She was touching people's lives that would take an individual therapist a long years to do. But she had an inroad that was incredibly magical. When I was sitting there working with you, I felt as though I'd done it before.
Seemed to know what to do and how to do it and everything.
And we've been together ever since.
I do remember experiencing many times at these events when Karolyn would instantly connect with somebody. When I bring friends, and it was an instant connection, just like you mentioned, Chris, and they would open up about things that may take a little bit longer with a therapist. And I've had it happen to me when I wear the Zuzu pin in November and December, and I'd walk around. If someone would ask me about the pin and say how much they loved the movie, they would win a big, beautiful photo personalized from Karolyn to them.
You were the Santa Claus. You still are the Santa Claus. Full of surprises.
They love the movie so much. And even children who come into my studio have seen the movie. There's a little bit of a dark side, but there's more light in it than the dark side. And it just goes to show how one person can affect the lives of so many people. That one person wasn't around. I mean, I think of my own life. I almost got married in Italy. I spent 8 years in Italy. And if I had married, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. I never would have met you folks. I'd still be living in Italy, probably with 10 kids. And I wouldn't trade anything for it right now. What's going on and how many lives have been affected, just music-wise. You look at my student, Kristen Personius, who's composed music for James Cameron, one of his productions, and she was nominated for a Grammy. So she was ready to quit piano until she got to our studio. So that the movie, It's a Wonderful Life, that bright side is how much one person can affect so many people. And then you got that ripple effect that's pretty profound.
And we see a lot of that with this podcast, people such as yourselves, and how it's affected your life and how it's affected the people that you know, and on and on. Kind of like a spiritual journey, you might say.
You even have to be religious or anything to experience what I've seen in the past. A lot of fun to work with people who enjoy those type of movies. And I'm working with people who was in Mrs. Doubtfire and Jurassic Park and The Sound of Music. Those are movies that everybody seems to have seen or at least recognize. And I remember with Mrs. Doubtfire, Lisa Jacob, who played Lydia in that movie, she said people would come up to her and tell her how their parents were divorced, but how everything would be okay. And that's how it was in the movie, with her parents did get divorced, but everything was okay for the kids. I remember at the event we had in Colorado Springs, one person from the audience asked Karolyn, "Do you have a wonderful life?" And she replied that it's up to the individual if they want to have a wonderful life.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
To find out more about the organization featured in today's episode or a previous episode, and to learn more about how you can help, go to zuzunetwork.com/beanangel.
Smokey the Bear. Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do. What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at smokeybear.com, and remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Have you heard? Affordable healthcare is better than ever. And right now there are more carriers and plans to choose from. If you're between 18 and 64 years old with a household income of $25,000 or less, this message is for you. Right now, the government's Affordable Care Act is available for individual and family health coverage plans with little to no cost to you. Don't gamble your health. Call Health Care for All. 70% of callers qualify for a zero-cost healthcare coverage. See if you are one of them. Call now. Our agents are standing by to help you get the health insurance plan you and your family needs and deserves. If you're uninsured or struggling to afford your current health insurance, help is just a phone call away. This is not Medicaid or Medicare. This is the marketplace with the largest selection of healthcare plans from the Affordable Care Act. To find a plan that's right for you, call 800-788-2406. That's 800-788-2406.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and don't have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-348-7312. 800-348-7312.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you don't pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call if you've been injured in an auto accident. Call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-348-7312. 800-348-7312. 800-348-7312.
Auto Accident Help Desk.
Zuzu's book club features recommendations from Zuzu herself on books she loves and thinks you will love also. All of the books that the club reads, fiction and nonfiction, are inspirational and uplifting. Folks, this is a life-enhancing club to be part of. You can sign up for free at zuzunetwork.com/book club. That's zuzunetwork.com/book club.
This is Zuzu, all grown up.
And we all go through challenges if we're going to sulk about it and close ourselves up, that if we go in a different direction and just do what we can to enhance our lives and get beyond those dark moments.
That's right.
We have choices.
We do have choices. Some of the questions my students have asked, what was it like working with Jimmy Stewart?
Well, Jimmy Stewart was an absolute fabulous man. He was super, super tall. I felt really small. He was kind. He was gentle. Well, they just don't make him like him anymore. He was a special man. He did a lot of kind things for people that no one ever knows about, because I got to know him afterwards when I became an adult, and he just was a beautiful man, inside and out.
One student asked, how many times did you have to go down the stairs on that one scene? And when they watched the movie, they noticed he was not holding you.
In the back, Petey was pushing my little bum up, balance me. Yes, my brother, that's the case. But when I came down the stairs, I was hanging on pretty tight. And when we went into the living room, got my hands wrapped around his neck and my feet wrapped around his body like a little frog. It was a little difficult to hang on for that little spin when he came into the living room, from the stairs to the living room. I have no idea how many times we did that. He was so gentle and so kind. He let me down so gently. And, I've been choking him literally with my hands hanging on. So he was a real gentleman. He did a lot of good things and kind things for people. I will never forget that. And they shared it with me.
These are the last two, because a lot of people ask the same question. During telephone scene with Donna Reed, was that really a one take on that one?
Yes, it was. They got into it emotionally so much that Frank Capra, when they finished the scene, they had left out like 2 pages of dialogue. But he was so impressed with the chemistry that was flying around and how well they had done the lines, and it just worked perfectly. He said, print.
The last question is with Uncle Billy. When he walks off stage left after talking to Jimmy Stewart, you hear this big crash, and it sounds like he fell into some trash cans or anything. I think he had 2 glasses of too many wine servings there. But as I understand it, that a stagehand had dropped some equipment and that everyone just flowed with it, because when you see Jimmy Stewart's face, there's genuine surprise on his face.
Thomas Mitchell had the presence of mind to say, I'm all right, I'm all right. And so Jimmy's laughing about that as he goes up the stairs. He was a little concerned at first. He knew it was under control. It was a spontaneous thing, but it flowed very well. Capra kept it in. And he also gave the guy who dropped the props a $10 bonus.
Wow, that was quite a bit of money back then.
Well, he thought he was going to get fired, so he was really happy.
So have you traveled to other countries besides all over the U.S.?
For It's a Wonderful Life, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
England. In England, they actually have a John Wayne Film Society, and I've appeared there in the Sherwood Forest area for the John Wayne Film Society convention, and that was interesting. But I had a really neat experience not too many years ago. I went to London, and I don't know if you know it or not, but The Bishop's Wife, which was a pretty big movie back then, and it's getting very popular now with Cary Grant, David Niven, and Loretta Young. That was a movie that was shown at the Odeon Theater. I was there, and they called me in because they were going to show It's a Wonderful Life. Well, back in the day, the king and queen went to see The Bishop's Wife at that theater. That was the premiere in England, and it was a pretty big affair. For me to get the opportunity to go to the same theater, the Odeon Theater, Piccadilly Square, and they had chopped it all up into little theaters when I went, which was like 10 years ago maybe. The little theater that I was in the area where they had shown It's a Wonderful Life before. And this time they showed The Bishop's Wife, which was pretty cool. They both premiered there in England.
Wow, that is really something else. That's the first time I've heard of that. I do know that Chris was probably drawn to you, especially because you worked with two individuals in two movies who fit into his horror films, what he loves so much. Who is those two individuals that you've worked with that are recognized throughout the world?
Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney Jr.
Yes, very good. Karolyn was just on a TV show, Preacher Features, where they were talking to her, interviewing her. Well, people ask me when we talk about Chris, why he likes these movies so much. I explain to them that these monsters are actually innocent. When you take the creature from the Black Lagoon, people jumped into his swimming pool. They wouldn't leave him alone, right? He's minding his own business, and people come with a boat and start jumping into his pool. And then Dracula, he just needed a blood bank.
Yeah, yeah.
Frankenstein was minding his own business, except for Igor. And you look at all of these other creatures, they're just hunchback, minding their own business. And it
sounds as though you have a lot of sympathy and empathy towards these monsters.
If you really look at it and you evaluate what they're doing, and then humans jumping in and disturbing their lives,
yeah,
they're innocent.
Is it just because they're different, you think?
Well, it's partly that they're different, yeah. And they probably look at us and it probably scares them. You're a psychologist, so you can analyze that any way you want.
They're coming in here and they're cutting down my trees. It's from an environmental standpoint.
What are you two up to now? What are you planning for the future?
Other than podcasts that we're having a lot of fun with, we have a very full calendar planned for the Christmas season. You know, it's a balance between my work and also what Karolyn does. Sometimes can cut in way too much into the quality time that I have with my patients. So I have to kind of balance that.
Do you know, Chris, that restaurant we ate at, that we would always eat at in Denver?
Huh?
That's where Richard Dreyfuss would go.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because the waitress there told me that he would always go there when he was in that area. It was his favorite restaurant.
It's still there, isn't it?
It's still there. You know, I just had the opportunity to get together with him.
You remind me of him a bit.
And we were both mischievous. He was appearing in Denver, and we've been communicating for probably 23 years.
Oh, my gosh.
But we never got to have a photo taken of us together. So I went, I said, I need to get a photo taken with you because I don't know if people believe we've known each other for 23 years. And his response was, well, I need to have a photo taken with you because my friends don't believe I know you.
Did you get a prop from the movie?
See that Beethoven bust? That's the bust that sat on his desk in the movie Mr. Holland's Opus. Mm-hmm. So I got that from the set dresser, Jeff Seats, and he was just going to put it in a closet. And I said, oh, please, I'll buy it off of you because I'm related to Beethoven through the teaching lineage. And he said, no, if you just pay for shipping, you can have it. So I paid him all this money to have it triple boxed so it wouldn't get damaged. And there it sits for everyone to see.
Pretty special.
Yeah, it's a beautiful bust for those of you that are listening in.
And he's just from the waist up.
Thank you very much for joining us again. I always have a good time with you.
Well, I'm glad Chris could get together with us this time, too.
Thanks for being able to meet us on a Saturday. All right, Phil.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
What a journey. A heartfelt thank you to Phillip Erklen for joining us and sharing not only his memories and surprises, but the lasting joy he brings through music and friendship. I'm Seth Kennedy, and we'll be back next time on Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Do you know someone who is earning their wings? Someone practicing kindness and service to others? Perhaps an organization or initiative helping make the world we live in a kinder, sweeter place.
Or maybe you've witnessed the miraculous, the divine, the magnificent in some way in your life, and you'd like to share it with others. Go to zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory and let us know more.
You may end up being featured on an upcoming episode of Zuzu All Grown Up. That's zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
We hope you've been inspired to live your most wonderful life now and to help those around you do the same.
Remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, there are people who care about you and your life makes a difference.
It is a wonderful life.
Check out zuzunetwork.com for more on today's and other episodes, including transcripts and merchandise you won't want to be without.
New episodes are coming soon.
For transcripts of today's broadcast, go to zuzunetwork.com/transcripts.
Watch a video clip of today's episode at www.instagram.com/Zuzu, all grown up. That's www.instagram.com/Zuzu, all grown up. Then click on the Reels tab from the top of the center of the page. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at www.instagram.com/Zuzu, all grown up. That's www.instagram.com/Zuzu, all grown up. Catch up on past episodes and discover currently premiering and upcoming episodes as well, and get helpful links and exclusive clips from our recordings. That's www.instagram.com/Zuzu, all grown up.
Zuzu All Grown Up with your hosts Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
Announcer and guide Seth Kennedy.
Executive producer Kevin R. Stillmock.
Coordinating producer Holly Ann Way.
Technical producer Stella Joel.
Managing producer Karina Filatova. A Wonderful Land production.
In collaboration with Radio Wonderful.